Very good evening, friends. At the outset, let me welcome each and every one of you for the special webinar on artificial intelligence. I must make one very important observation that today's youngsters, they are more keen than the elders that they believe, especially 2000 kids. Me and Mr. Venkatarangan Thirumalai, Raju, we all belong to the 90s, 80s and 70s era. Maybe at that time, we didn't have computers. We were the only generation who saw without computers how we can survive, how computers evolved, and post technology, what is the scenario today. But today's youngsters, they start with artificial intelligence. They start with machine-dependent gadgets. More importantly, in finance, especially Reserve Bank of India, they are very keen that this entire banking technology, finance platform, there used to be companies called fintech companies, financial technology companies. Today, fintech companies are recognized as a finance companies. So they are not treated as a technology company. They are treated as a finance company. So to that level, the subject called AI, machine learning, data analytics, robotics, many such terminologies. Maybe the first thing which everybody will have in their mind is this question. I want to introduce to you today's eminent speaker, my good friend, Mr. Venkatarangan Thirumalai, a very highly educated and seasoned professional. He is presently the CEO of a company which is where he does very innovative deliveries of his professional expertise. Not only that, he also educates people on the emerging technologies. He is the CEO of Founder Catalyst, and also, to my knowledge, he has been holding the honorary regional director of Microsoft INC for many decades. To my knowledge, it should be more than 2.5 decades. With this very brief prelude, let me invite Sri Venkatarangan Thirumalai on board. And Mr. Venkat, I have maybe the first question to start with. What is the history of this artificial intelligence? Maybe you and I belong to the 70s, 80s era, but I don't know when artificial intelligence came. But today everybody is speaking about it. Most importantly, my son, he says, Dad, you don't know anything about AI. Leave it to me. Okay. I want to.
Yeah, you see, actually, it's a very interesting way to begin this because many people, especially in the media, says artificial intelligence, machine learning, large language models, generative AI, all as interchangeable things. It's like profit and loss or a balance sheet for a non-accounting person. Everything is just numbers. So let's just step back. I'll answer your first question: when does artificial intelligence came into being? There are lots of proofs, but one of the examples is by a Catalan poet called Roman Lalla. In about 1500s, I've written a book, a concept note of how you can create new knowledge from existing knowledge. That's one of the earliest examples of AI people seem to be quoting. I'm sure if we go into any of the historic epics, whether it is Greek mythology or Indian mythologies, we'll find similar ideas to artificial intelligence. What is artificial intelligence in that sense? It is to do with reasoning. It is to do with what we think normally requires human intelligence. When computers do that, it is artificial intelligence. The term is kind of self-explanatory. Traditionally, this has meant you program, you train these models, you explicitly give them instructions and all that. What has become in the last 10, 20 years, especially with cloud, these models have become kind of, you don't need to explicitly give them rules. We'll talk about them a little later, but that's the evolution of AI. One of the biggest starting points is father of AI is called John McCarthy. In the US, there was a conference in 1956 where many of these stalwarts met up. So that is considered for all practical purposes as a starting point of AI in 1956.
Very good. Now, people speak about LLM. They also speak about generative AI. So, what is generative AI? What is large language model and connect with artificial intelligence?
Let's travel just a bit. From artificial intelligence came a field called machine learning. So what happens in machine learning is a field of artificial intelligence where we use large volumes of data to train the system. We don't explicitly give commands. So we are all familiar. There is Python coding, JavaScript, C++, all whatever those, where we explicitly give commands to the machine. In machine learning, we don't do that. We give a data and tell the machine, you kind of figure out and learn yourself. It's not equivalent, but it's like giving a kid lots of photographs and saying you learn from this. That's how kids learn. So that's the general idea. From machine learning comes a field called deep learning. And then one of the implementations of deep learning is neural networks, which we all would have heard that neural networks kind of simulates, or it's a simulation of a human brain where there's a lot of neurons and connect. The intelligence people talk about the human brain, not on the neurons, but on the interconnection between neurons. So similar things happens in deep learning also. Machine learning, then we have deep learning. Implementation of deep learning is neural networks. One of the implementations of neural networks is generative AI. That is how this whole thing goes. There's artificial intelligence, machine learning, and then neural networks, and then you have generative AI. The term again is self-explanatory, generative AI. They generate content. So that is the beauty about them. One implementation of generative AI is large language models. Large language models. They understand large corpus of data, so they're called large language models. Generative AI as a field can do text, images, videos, and also statistical data and all that stuff. So they can generate any type of these types of data.
Well, slowly I'm able to understand these terms, but let me start with one of the greatest fear because of all these the terms what you have put before me. Will, because of artificial intelligence, whether human beings will lose jobs. For example, there are repetitive jobs. People say, no. The lift operator, nowadays lift operator is not there. We only operate lift. So will drivers will be out of job if that is the scenario? Similarly, I am more concerned about my field. I am from finance. So will accountants, even now we are not able to get the base level accountant. So for accounting, the day-to-day accounting, I need people. Sales receptionist. So salesmen, receptionist, because they do repetitive jobs. The way in which you say nowadays this is what the salesmen do. There will be he will take a scanner, he will scan. Even that the robots can do. So whether there will be a job, people will lose jobs because of AI.
Okay, that's a very interesting and very often asked question. Yes, people will lose jobs, but I am an optimist. I see more jobs will be created, more I value. The humans will move from doing these, what you rightfully called as repetitive jobs, onto more value generation jobs. Now, what is it that we have to figure out as a society? In the transition period, there definitely will be pain, for sure. There is no doubts about that. From any industrial revolution or whatever we talk about electrification, there were pain. So some people lose job and some others came up. In this, I like to quote Andrew Ng, who's one of the very prominent people in the field of AI. He was a former Google researcher and all that. He said, human beings, if your job involves just doing tasks, AI will replace you. But if your job involves more than tasks, which you rightfully said as repetitive tasks, you don't need to worry about your job. If you're doing a work which is more than tasks, again, you don't need to worry. It's a very good examples you quoted. One of the things people often say is radiology. When radiology is one of the fields which use AI very about a decade or two earlier, but we don't find radiologists losing jobs. In fact, radiologists are the most sought after professional. You pay them premium money. What happens in radiology, if you look at the AI or the machines are able to look at these patterns a lot more faster and accurate and spot cancer, which are so minute that you can't see, and they tell there is a cancerous possibility. What the human doctor does, or the researcher or the radiologist does, sit with you and work out a plan. Should you worry about it? He will know. If you're probably working somewhere close to some hazardous industry, he will say you need to worry about the small dot in your scan. Whereas if you're on not a stressful job or you're in your 20s, etc., he will say you don't need to worry about that. So there is more work for radiologists. So coming back to your question, think about it. When we graduated, say in the late 90s, I don't think so even chartered accountancy, CA, was as popular as it is today. So the number of students, I will make a hazardous guess that today I see more number of chartered accountant degree holders than what they were about 2 decades back. But today these chartered accountants, I won't call them they are not accountants. Earlier they would have been just accountants with BCom. They have moved on to the next value addition level of being CAs and adding to the company. And some of these people move on to having a board seat in the companies. That is the growth that I see with AI coming into job force. Every job you take, finance, AI will be able to spot financial crimes and all that. And you will move on to more higher level thinking and working.
So I understand, Venkat, that the jobs like lawyer, mediator, nurse, therapist, counselors, teachers who teach by looking at the eyes of the students, okay, musicians, hairdressers, B2B salesmen, not B2C, chief executive officers, CFOs, human resource manager, personal trainer. I am sure by your words, I am now happy. These jobs, and including judges' jobs, are safer.
I'll spoil sport. Negotiators, there is a chat GPT. If you go to chat GPT today, there's a negotiator GPT. You can negotiate with it. And as of last week, there is a study which said that if you're on Facebook and you're arguing a particular point, if a chat GPT argues, it is likely to win 82% of the time. In the blind test, they find out the best to argue is a chat GPT with the humans. It wins 82% of the time. So I won't be so sure about those jobs, but the other jobs you mentioned are definitely
now, Mr. Venkat, since you were mentioning about this chat GPT, why there is a sudden interest about this tool called, I only see that as a tool, hope I'm right, called a chat GPT. And I understand, we married men, we are all, especially in Tamil Nadu and all, the way we don't have the courtesy of using please, kindly with our family members. Hey, inge va, oh, go, abdi. So we don't use that niceties with our family members. But can I direct and this chat GPT, hey, do this, that, this, or should I be very gentle, kindly, please give me this? And I understand that if my question is, unless and otherwise, the answer is there in the database, ChatGPT can give me an answer. For I'm hungry and I ask ChatGPT, give me 2 idli, 1 vada. I am sure it will not give. So why the sudden interest in ChatGPT?
Let's start with the sudden. That is very interesting point. We should realize this is a field that has been there, AI, ML, like I said, from 1956, various winters have come. Suddenly interest on AI happens, a lot of investment money or VC money happens, and then interest lose. That's called AI winters. But what's happened in the recently is a couple of things. One, availability of huge amount of computing power in the last 10 years because of cloud. All your cloud vendors, whether it is Google, Amazon, or Microsoft, or Alibaba, whoever it is, a phenomenal amount of computing power. Second is phenomenal amount of data is generated. Today, as we are speaking with Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever, WhatsApp, whatever, it's enormous amount of data. We don't realize Google Maps is an enormous data generation. I don't mean it in a negative sense that Google is looking at what all we are doing. No, that there are lots of positive use cases with Google. So all this data is available, and then there have been improvements in the algorithms because of compute power and because of data. New algorithms could be implemented which never could have been even thought 10-15 years back. So that is one of the reasons. And the last 2 years with ChatGPT, especially since you brought it up, they were doing this company OpenAI, which Elon Musk initially founded, and then he went out of it, and there is a legal case now and all that. They have been working on this for 4 or 5 years. Google has been working on their AI technologies for many years. One of the easiest examples is all of us are using Gmail. Our spam filter is so good with Gmail. Today, we don't think about spam like what we used to about a couple of years back. That is a classic example of a machine learning. If you go into an online machine learning course, the first example they will teach you is how to do spam filtering. This spam, this is not. So it's been all happening. Again, so coming back, this company OpenAI, for the last 4 or 5 years, they have been working. But suddenly they decided when they increase what is called as parameters into billions, we'll come into parameters probably a little later. When they basically increase the size, these models suddenly started to understand language a lot better. It was more an accidental happening rather than by design. They know that how to do these neurons, how to do machine learning, all that is known. And as you increase data, they all know quality will improve. Suddenly at GPT-3, there was a tipping point, which happened in November 22 and the likes, that these systems suddenly started generating human quality text. Those 3 words are very, very key. Human quality text, which happened in November 22. So that's the turning point. These models now, especially ChatGPT and their other equivalents, can now generate content which is as good as what a human can do. I showed an example in 2020 about GPT-2, asking it to write a story about Vadivelu, a comedy scene. It generated a story, but it was not complete. It didn't have any meaning. Today, if you go and ask it to give a Rajinikanth movie with Tom Cruise as the other hero, both of them fighting an international crime, it will give you a very beautiful story. And the interesting part is, this is not from a database. It is generating or it is creating content fresh, which is not being seen at all. That is the magic in ChatGPT. Earlier, we had all systems which from past data can tell you can tell you about inference and all that. This is the first time these generative AI can generate new content. And the latest ChatGPT and all can generate images, chart, can even do music. So good that that's the power of ChatGPT. That's all. Just for the completion, there is equivalents from Google, which is called Google Gemini. There is open source versions from Meta called Llama and all that, but all of them operate on the same concept.
Now, since you were mentioning about this, if I generate a very a handsome picture of GKR and the original picture of GKR, if both I give to artificial intelligence tool, can it distinguish which is real and which is fake? Because I'm coming to finance part. Slowly I will bring there. So I'll first start with this comparison. A real and a fake picture, can it distinguish?
Okay, there is a copyright angle also. Let me cover it if you permit me to say that, and then we'll come to this real or fake. What happens to the copyright of the content that ChatGPT generates? You come up with a beautiful poem, beautiful image, like you said, of JKR. Can you copyright it? Today, I have to pay royalty to ChatGPT, OpenAI, and all that. Today, all these vendors have allowed you to use those royalty free. You don't need to pay them any royalty. That is number one. So the content that these tools generate, you don't need to pay them a fee. That is number one. Can you copyright them is the next question. The laws, copyright laws we have, whether it in the US or India or anywhere, it doesn't explicitly say whether machine generated content can be copyrighted, because all these laws assume that content will be created only by humans. Now, general accepted principle now, until some Supreme Court somewhere in the US or India or elsewhere rules it out, the general understanding is that if there is a significant input from you, you can copyright. If there is no significant input, you just gave a prompt, generate a beautiful girl sitting in a mountain and talking, that image can you copyright? You can't copyright, because there's no, other than giving that prompt, you never did anything. So that is only copyright thing. Now, coming into the part where you asked about fake. If they are images generated, these tools today to a large extent can distinguish human generated and artificial images. If they are images, if they are text, obviously it cannot. How can it figure out the text I wrote and the text ChatGPT wrote? If I give you a text without any grammar mistakes and the English is American, probably you will think, oh, Venkat doesn't speak American English. This is in American English, so it's probably ChatGPT. But if I say ChatGPT English, Indian English, and generate it, there is no way today to figure out that it is machine generated or not machine generated. I think the question is itself, when it comes to text, is invalid. Why should we care whether a human generated text or a machine generated text? Is the text fact or not? And you're all in the fact finding, and finance is always fact. You should be worried whether the content is factual or non-factual. That is where the question we need to ask.
I'll come to another refinement of the same question. Instead of a picture of mine, what if I give a scanned document? See, today we have fake documents, fake invoices, fake documents created. Let us take an immovable property sale deed, which is a fake document. So if I scan the document and make the AI tool to read it, is it possible, or still we are in the, because that is where as a finance person I will be more keen, forensic. Can AI tool help me in forensic, in identifying? At least can it help me in step 1, in step 2? At least it will not take me to the last step. Can it do so, or are we still in the beginning stage with respect to the document fake analysis?
Okay. See, there is fake. When we talk about fake, there is two things: fake generation and fake analysis, right? Are these tools helping to make fake so easy, doing fake? Absolutely, yes. We had Xerox machines, and we all would have known at 16 years, students going and giving their license to be marking them as 18 years and allowing to do and all that, just as an example. We don't, earlier, at least in 30, 40 years back, it was not that big a crime, and Xerox will do, or in the US movies, we'll always see fake IDs they're doing so that they can go and drink in the bar and all that stuff. So fake has always been created. So are these tools making it easy? Probably. There is no questions about it, because with a prompt, you can generate fake. That is a societal problem we'll have to handle, and laws have to come for that, which is coming. Or I think already there is enough laws to make it a crime for fake documents. So that part is fake generation. Let's leave it out. Fake detection. Absolutely, yes. These tools can help you to detect fake for a simple reason. They can go through millions or billions of these documents, which you and me are. Earlier, we'll say, oh, this person can see this and immediately spot. If you see Dhiran Adhikaram Ondru, though that fingerprint, that one person, they will take him to every jail to read fingerprints. That person has about 30 years of experience. By seeing a fingerprint, he will say, oh, this is matches with that record. But that has taken him 30 years. And that's only one person can do. Today, this system can analyze billions of these documents. And if at all we have a chance in fake detection, it's better now than before. But is the problem bigger now? Absolutely, because the volume of fakes is increasing. So it is, the fire is also increased. We have to also fight. So it's the same problem.
Amazing. So it's mind-boggling and startling also, Mr. Venkat. Now I will put this because you have been saying ChatGPT and other tools. Now let me put before you, like ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, because you are from Microsoft, and Google Gemini. So like that, you can go on add. So I am in business. I am a business user. So I am a finance professional. So which one should I choose? No, I am a Microsoft user, so I will go for it. I'm a Google user, so I'll go for it. So which one is
Okay.
an ideal
It's a
for a business
very
person?
important question. I think this is one of the main takeaways should be of this interaction we are having today. You have to understand the ramifications of these tools also. And since you are in finance, most often or everything you handle is customer confidential and important data, which you shouldn't leak by law. It's not about some damage happening. You will be held responsible. Some of the data that you handle goes out. So it's extremely important for people in your profession to understand this. If you're an individual, you want to play around, learn these tools, please subscribe to ChatGPT as a personal usage. Please don't put any of your corporate or business or financial data onto ChatGPT. It's a consumer tool. And OpenAI is a great company, it has great technology. They have many ways. There are other API tools you can use. They have enterprise solutions. Please use those, but those are expensive. So we are not going to be using them. So let's leave it out. So it's nothing about ChatGPT being unsafe, nothing like that. The ChatGPT product consumer edition that we buy at $20 a month is meant for consumers. Let's be very, very clear. That is sold only for individuals. So please use it to write your blogs, text for your YouTube videos, finding out the next cookery report, even some learning. If you're able to use ChatGPT, one of the effective ways I use ChatGPT is to learn. Ask it to say, okay, I want to know what is data analysis. Can you tell it to a 10-year-old kid? Then I say data analysis for a college graduate, data analysis for a Python developer, data analysis for a corporate scientist, so on and so forth. So slowly I'll increase the complexity and master the subject. Just like how we are learning in schools, first standard, second standard, so on and so forth. ChatGPT is a brilliant tool to use it. Please use it for individual play around to keep yourself abreast about what's happening. That's
Here, sorry to interrupt. Nowadays, children, school-going kids, they are very fancied with this kind of the personal usage consumer tool, ChatGPT, and whatever the homework the school is giving now. Even now, teachers are also very they are also now becoming smarter. Oh, this is not your language. This is a ChatGPT language. Now, how do we? I'm sure we can't stop this explosion of technological innovation, but is it good, or to what extent it can be good for children using ChatGPT, because their individual development, their individual talent will come out. That is my view.
It is a
Learn to you also, and after that about Copilot and Gemini.
Sure. See, like everything else, when Xerox came, the same problem. Again, I'm going back to the Xerox example. It is not as if technology didn't kind of create these problems. We didn't write notes. In the classroom, we'll say, whoever writes notes, we'll just take it and take Xerox and we'll study. So the teacher said, you are not writing what I say in the notebook, you are not going to read. Today, teachers itself give it as PDF online in the college website, you download and read. Nobody takes actually notes. We have evolved as a society. So how do you do education has to evolve. Right now, there is a problem. Just like how the COVID generation in 12th standard students, 1 or 2 years, they went through problem remotely. Our society has to adjust to these tools like ChatGPT. In the transition, yes, there is a problem. But I think as a society, we'll come out of it better. But we'll have to change what are we testing students on? That has to change. I don't have an answer if you ask. I'm not an educationist, but I think we have to start brainstorming and thinking, what are we testing our students on? If it is just memory, calculator, I remember in engineering college, if we bring calculator inside the lab, we'll be thrown out. That's so today that can't be even thought. Calculator and logbooks or even tablets are allowed in colleges. So we have progress. Does it mean engineering degree has come down in thing? No. Same thing I'm sure in accounting. You wouldn't have been allowed account calculators, or your father wouldn't have been allowed. Today, those are unimaginable. Anyway, so coming back.
Today it is open book exam.
Exactly. So we'll have to correct. If we have to teach our students on how to use ChatGPT as a learning tool, it can be a phenomenal learning tool because it's a personalized teacher who doesn't get angry at you, who's not tired. I asked ChatGPT for, again, data analysis. I asked it 10,000 questions, ChatGPT will answer. And it will answer to my level of what I want. which no teacher can do. We don't need to do tuitions, for example, because the tuition teacher will customize it for you rather than 50 students. Today, ChatGPT is your personalized tutor you've got at your hand. We have to teach our students. Just like how do we teach our kids today with Netflix? Do you watch pornography or adult movies, or do you watch good content? The same problem. We have to educate them. So I'm quite positive about it, but the transition phase is certainly going to be a problem. It's not going to be without problems. Coming back.
Okay. How about Copilot and Gemini?
Correct. So ChatGPT, I answered, if it's personal use, please go ahead and use the paid version because it's got a lot more feature. For you to fully understand and appreciate, please use the paid version at least for a month or so to play around. If you're already a Microsoft user, you're on Microsoft Office, please use Microsoft Copilot, which is again $20-30. But that adds on, that bolts on top of your Microsoft Office subscription that you've already got. If you're a Google customer, Google Workspace, please use Google Gemini, which costs similar money. But don't try to do this mix and match. I'm a Microsoft user buying Gemini or Google Workspace user buying Copilot. Doesn't really work and it will make your life miserable. It's like buying a tire for a different car than your brand and all that. But if you're on Microsoft Office or you're on Google, please buy their corresponding thing and use it on their work edition. A lot of people will be using Microsoft Office Personal Family Edition. Please don't do that. You don't get protection from Microsoft. I'll tell you one other feature a minute later. If you don't use their work edition, which is called their business or enterprise edition. Google uses the term, I think business, Microsoft uses the term enterprise or vice versa. So go and use their enterprise edition, which is marked clearly as business. I'll tell you why. Their consumer edition, even if it's a paid edition of Copilot, if you go to gemini.google.com from your Gmail ID, it will say Gemini Advanced, but it's a consumer product. Don't use it for your business purpose. Go to the Google Workspace where you have your own domain name and then you log in. Use that product. The reason is your data will be private. None of them use it for training, etc. More importantly, even within your organization, what your employee is supposed to do, Microsoft and Google will ensure only that is visible to them. Whereas the personal editions, those protections you don't get. Second, this data never leaks. Most important, you get indemnification from Microsoft or Google if somebody comes and sues you. For example, you put in a text and New York Times or the Hindu comes and says, this text was trained by Copilot or Gemini on my content, and they come and sue you. Microsoft or Google will stand and indemnify you when you use their work business editions. Even if you're using their paid personal edition, they don't. Only if you use their paid business editions, they will indemnify you, which is super important. For you as financial professionals, you'll have to use their work paid edition. There is no other choice because that only gives you the guarantee and the permissions.
Amazing. So now maybe I'll come for my profession. Tax departments, GST
Yes.
department, income tax department, they have huge data. So recent announcement by our honorable finance minister made a mark that especially last year, 23 year ended. So that assessment year 23-24, the number of returns that has been filed, ITR returns have crossed 7 crore. So this much huge data they have, because each return there will be a lot of fields, huge information, not only with respect to the static content, but also dynamic content like income related information, then transaction related, property related, so many. Now, artificial intelligence. So how these tools are used by the tax departments to check on evasion of tax. So it's a big subject actually, but wish to know how these tools will enable tax departments.
Okay. Today, very simple example, if you look at it, you can't do GST as an implementation without these tools, right? We couldn't have even imagined doing GST where there's an input credit and output we can take and correlate and all that without sophisticated computer systems. This couldn't have been done in paper system or manually or older than computers at all, because anywhere in India you can take inputs and all that. So when those amount of data, like you said, 7 crore assessees, it's just not possible to do. And we don't have so many assessing officers also. And this, With GST, so much of data is increasing. With UPI, for example, earlier what I used to have done cash, every day I'm doing like 10 UPI transactions, 10 rupees for this, 50 rupees for that, so much of volume. Now, the only way is to do machines. And in machines, earlier we were programming. It's not like today only with generative AI or data analysis we are able to do. Income tax departments and GSTs or tax departments have been using data mining and all that for many, many years. What is now new is they're able to do more or less in real time. More or less enormous of the volume of data they are able to do so much today. I'll give you an example. Income tax departments, tax departments are very confidential. They don't share much. But for example, you take Swiggy, hypothetically. Okay, Swiggy every day kind of trains their model so that they can tell their partners, tomorrow, what are you likely to going to order? Look at it. As a restaurant, Swiggy will tell you what you should make tomorrow so that you can buy those ingredients. Can we imagine doing this 5 years back? We can't. You as a master caterer, you will know by experience. Friday, people will only eat vegetarian. Let me not do non-vegetarian. That much you will know. But exactly how much they know. For example, companies like Freshdesk or any of the other Salesforce, they every day train their models, or Zoho train their models so that their customers, you've given a support ticket today. So you had a problem with Zoho Meet, you raised a ticket, and there was a solution that given to you which worked. Tomorrow, when I ask the question, similar question, it is going to refer the answer that it gave without revealing anything about you, and then tell me how is it going to find it, because it's learned on that yesterday. So tax department, once they find out a fraud has happened, they don't need to explicitly go and reprogram. Oh, now find out all similar frauds, like what we used to do when somebody brought gold in their shoes. We know what our customs will do. Tomorrow afterwards, everybody, let's check shoes. But those have to be done manually. Now the system in real time will know that this is a fraud that happened, and then tomorrow we'll find out a lot more faster. So all these are happening by these powerful machine learning models. Again, lastly, earlier in machine learning, they will find out something and it will give it to the humans to say, here is the data. But now they can actually take the decision also and automatically fire a notice to you, notice to the taxpayer, that there is a discrimination answer. There's no human involvement at all. Nothing really bad really happens. If the system makes a mistake, which initially it will, sky doesn't fall, because you as a taxpayer, you're only going to go and answer. That's when a human gets involved. So a lot of such things are happening. Everybody is learning on this with the power of these systems, whether it is Infosys or TCS, which is doing it, tax departments, the government, regulations, users. I think these things, as they stabilize, is only going to make our life, both as assessees, assessors, financial professionals who are advising, and it's only going to make it better for all of us.
I recently came because after what you say, income tax department is going to use regression model as an AI tool to detect tax evasion. Regression is X on Y. So on one particular set of data, because government of India, they already have a lot of data, especially bank transactions, property transactions, innumerable number of transactions done by a particular PAN number and their income tax return. To what extent this regression regression is there? So whether it has been reflected there. So property purchase, whether any expenditure, if expenditure is there and income is not there, then there will be a tax evasion. So these kind of connector, they are actually making it, and the days are not far. It's already there that people will get to explain expenditures, explain the asset sources with respect to their income tax return. So
correct.
We at the front end only we get the messages. Front end we get the notices, but the back end they do this analysis. They do this kind of tooling. Wonderful.
I hope they use it to the fullest power with generative AI and give me not cryptic notices, but descriptive notices that as a human being I can understand. I think governments will also start doing that. Earlier you couldn't do it. They will say, if I go and even file an invoice with Zoho, it tells me what is the tax code I have to use. I don't know what is the tax code. You tell me that. Okay, Zoho makes it a little easy. I can click and still I have to figure out. But it's a matter of a few months Zoho will implement. Oh, you are saying business consulting. I know what is the tax code you have to use. It will automatically put it. So like that, if income tax, when they do this regression model you were talking about, and they send me a notice that I bought more properties in this PAN card, they can actually explicitly say, they can give a descriptive. Oh, this is what we are suspecting. Please answer. So it makes my life easier. And the assessing officer's life also easier, because he or she doesn't need to see reams of tabular columns. Those are all possible.
It's already there. The information, some of which are given in the 26 AS as well as an annual information statement. And Reserve Bank of India also has been doing this, like information security, anti-fraud detection, anti-fraud measures, fraud detection measures. Any you make the transaction, especially credit card transactions or debit card transactions, 1 or 2, if it has been happening continuously. Third, before the transaction happens, you will get a call, or there will be an OTP, or there will be an exclusive character which you have to type. You have to ensure that the origin person only, the real person only is doing the transaction. So all these are embedded today. The AI tools are embedded as part of the transaction monitoring mechanism.
Exactly. You got onto a very correct point. Embedding AI tools is the right way to look at these tools. AI doesn't create new field or anything. It embeds on your individual work that you are doing or departments that you are working on and enhances it. It's like a masala you put on top of the food. It's not the food. You add it. It adds the spice. It makes it so valuable. Every system that you use, whether it is Tally onwards to Word as co-pilots today and all that, every tool you will find as a AI, as a generative AI component will be bolted on top of it to enhance the value.
Very similar is cyber attack prevention. Today, social media pages are attacked, fake pages are created. So, but your original page should not be attacked. Fake pages, we can't stop it. That people will create it. But cyber attack on your bank transactions, your sensitive accounts, that has to be prevented. So that's where AI tools can, the moment some suspicion activity happens, immediately the AI will jump into action and it will alert, give messages, it will sensitize it.
I'll give you an example in technology itself. 20 years back, 25 years back, when internet was new, we had built solutions, websites for Microsoft and many others. The initial thing we have to do is when we set up a website, immediately somebody will come attacking it. So we have to have expertise in-house in our company or elsewhere to have network engineers, security analysts, firewall, installing a firewall. Those are all very complex things. Today, we don't think about it. You buy a server or an instance from Microsoft Cloud or Google Cloud and you be done with it. They have put up so much of machine learning and sophisticated technology that an individual hacker, you or me, cannot hack a Microsoft Google cloud today. It is impossible. Today, they say the attacks that come onto these clouds are only by nation states. We all know the rogue nation states which are out there. They only have the capacity to attack these clouds today. So it's not individuals anymore. It's more, and nation state is not going to be worried about Dr. GKR and Venkatarangan. They are going to be worried about government of India or government of Pakistan or government of US, whatever. Let them, or RBI or Bank of India. They have the wherewithal to protect and handle and all that. So I think that is the similar thing is going to happen with even social media or data for that matter. It will be, the threats will move away from individuals onto different level because these tools will become so sophisticated to protect individuals. But there again, somebody, you put a photo of you when you're not supposed to put it. Somebody is doing a blackmail. Those kind of things, society, social engineering attacks will continue to be there. That we can't solve.
Now, many things, Mr. Venkat, you have mentioned. Now, I'm a newcomer. I'm now having a lot of interest in this artificial intelligence. I want to learn. I want to learn step by step. So, is there any courses? Is there any sessions I can attend? I want to get certified. So, GKR, certified in artificial intelligence. So, I want to learn. So, sincerely, I want to learn. Maybe any institution, any online education. So, can you suggest to our?
I will tell you in two buckets. Okay, very simply. One bucket, you just have an interest on these. You want to learn. You want to just touch your feet, not anything. Two best tools for you to start learning on any of these topics. One, use ChatGPT itself. Ask these questions, like I said. Can you tell me this topic for a 10-year-old kid, 15-year-old kid, college, and all that? Keep going like that. Can I use this for this scenario? It will tell you. So that is one way. ChatGPT, maybe paid subscription you can take and learn. That's easiest. YouTube has phenomenal amount of videos for free. You can watch them. Those are on a personal, on an individual, you want to do that, please do that. Start there. On the professional front, one of the easiest places you can start with is LinkedIn Learning. It has got phenomenal information on, for example, AI for finance, AI for accounts, AI for this. It's got all those tools. These are short videos, short courses, and it also gives you certification. You can put it on your LinkedIn profile. You have to only pay for the LinkedIn Pro subscription, which is some few thousand rupees a month, and you get all about 22,000 videos available for you for free. That is where I will start for my professional certification journey. Then I will move on to Udemy, edX, and all the professional learning only as the next step. I've learned LinkedIn. I like this field. I want to go further. That's where I go on to degree courses. That's how I will. At the start, I won't go to these paid courses or certification unless I'm sure I'm going to spend. There's no point in enrolling for a 40-hour course in edX and not spending 40 hours.
Absolutely. Any formal certifications by Government of India?
Government of India, Swayam has those courses available from time to time for you. You can enroll on them. And many of the universities also, whether it is all the popular private institutions also in Madras or anywhere else, they're all offering many of these short-term courses. There are some kind of executive MBA programs also to do on data analysis and on AI and all available. Those could be the next step. Like I said, don't take the jump immediately. I want to get an MBA degree on this. Do these LinkedIn courses, do the Udemy courses. Make sure that subject is right for you. You are able to connect with it. Then take up those.
Well, now I'll come for cinema. So in entertainment industry, movie industry. So can you give some examples how AI has impacted that industry? Will I've seen one movie of superstar Rajinikanth where he didn't act in that movie, but his image acted in that movie. Now in future, whether we'll have such Shah Rukh Khan not acting, but his AI image will be acting. Amitabh Bachchan's AI image will be acting, and Gabbar Singh will again come back. So all these, my yesteryear actress and actor, MG Ramachandran. So MGR, can he come back on silver screen again using these kind of AI tools, generative AI?
They will definitely, for sure, we are going to see this already. See, today when we are talking about, say, Kochadayan, the Rajini movie which you referred, those were more or less programmed. Some people programmed those with animations and all the 3D virtual reality effects and all that. That required enormous amount of human talent to go. What will happen is with these tools, you'll be able to generate it a lot more automatically with less intervention or less human activity. They can help you from conceptualization of a story. You don't need to take a movie to get a reaction. Like in startups, we always talk about minimum viable product or a proof of concept. Today, you can do a proof of concept of a movie with these tools with few thousand rupees or dollars, and then show it to your prospective audience and say, do you like this movie, rather than spend 100 crores and realize you don't have a story, like many of the Tamil movies that you see now. With 100 crores, they don't even have a story. So those problems you can avoid. Use them as an ideation board to sound your story. Does it impact? Does it connect with your target audience? And then use them to generate the video. So the example you talked about MGR. One of the things I'd love to see is the MGR formula movies again made with MGR. We can do that now with these technologies. We can generate in a matter of months and years. It's become so easy. We will see MGRs or any of the favorite actors who are not there made into movies. That is certainly happening. Doesn't mean movie industry is going to go away. I don't think so. If everybody starts doing these plenty of MGR movies, human acted movies will become an experience and you will pay premium to watch it. So this will at one side happen, that will at one side happen. It's like food industry. We are having a roadside eatery offering pani puri at 20 rupees, and we have a 5-star experience of the same pani puri at 2000 rupees. So I think that's the way things will go, but it will certainly happen. I like to quote from Shekhar Kapoor, the famous movie maker, in one of the conferences last year in Singapore. He said, computers, as far as we know today, don't have emotions. And they don't know what is love, loss, death, and all that stuff. So for a movie, there has to be a loss, there has to be a gain, there has to be a thing, those emotions. So he says, as long as computers don't have emotions, I am safe as a movie maker. And if these tools are going to help me to make better movies, I will embrace them. We're all embracing Photoshop to do better pictures. So we're all using Tally to do better bookkeeping. We're all using Word to do better documents. So like that, these tools will help us to make better versions of ourselves.
Amazing. And when we are discussing our Pradhan Mantri has reached Chennai, and he is about to visit Tinagar, where you and I we are there. So what do you want to say about the national security for artificial intelligence? Do we need thousands and thousands of policemen henceforth for security? Can the national security be enabled, supported, helped, or whatever the word it is, by these AI tools? Can it scan whether who is a right guy, who is a terrorist, and then inform the right guy to actually eliminate them? That will be actually a very good help. So this AI can do. So what is your take on that?
I will answer that in two parts. First is physical national security, which you said, policemen, threat from threats, protecting our country, border, and all that stuff. Those kind of security. Today, obviously, yes, in the last 10 years, and that's the kind of intelligence our government, whether it is with Quad or any of the other forums, or similar with NATO and all that, phenomenal amount of data, unlike in the past, is happening. That's why we haven't seen a repeat of 9/11 and all those incidents, because the data exchange between these and the intelligence exchange rather than is phenomenal with countries or within countries. So that in a way we are safer, I will say, because of technology. There are also, of course, in a way because of technology we are unsafe. That's a different story. But from a physical security perspective, I think we are more safer from these threats because of this. Second, when it comes to AI and national security, there is an important angle many of us will forget, that today when we are talking about ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, or Llama, and all that stuff, predominantly what we are talking, all the ones I mentioned are all American companies. There is an open source Meta Llama model, but it's still an American company, which is Meta, which is done. Similarly, Alibaba has one for China and all that. In India, we currently don't have our own model, which is going to become very important for us. We are very close, or we are in French with the Western world, but we know history. It may not remain like this always. So we have to also think in a day. If we are using the models given by West today, what is happening with Russia and all these sanctions. With just a simple stop, they have put a stop to the entire Russian finance thing, something like that. When all our weapons, in a matter of years, all our weapons, all our information gathering, radars, everything are going to be controlled by these AI models. So if those baseline models are not with India, we are going to have a problem. I think government is seriously looking, every government, not only India, but we are better off than our neighbors and our similar size companies because we have the talent to build these models. We are a software powerhouse at the end of the day, but it's going to require enormous amount of investment, which I'm sure any government which comes on the forthcoming governments will invest. Otherwise, we are at a loss, especially with our northern neighbor having their own models. We have to think about it very carefully.
So we should go for a Desi AI tool.
Desi models, wherever it is. But for social media entertainment, we use an American model. I don't care. If we today don't make an MGR movie because of the model is not available, sky is not going to fall. But if a missile is coming, I want to stop it. That model is not available to me. That's of concern to me.
Amazing. So we'll have one participant, and I'll request a few participants also to raise your hand to ask direct question to Mr. Venkatarangan. We have one participant, Mr. Mahesh Kumar Gupta. He is from Jammu and Kashmir. Mr. Venkat, you have one participant from Jammu. He wished to interact with you. So very good evening, sir. You can.
Hello, good evening, Mr. Venkat and Raju, Dr. Saab. I have put a question also. My question is, how would blockchain technology or other security tools to restrain the hackers and financial scams in banks and other financial institutions? Is there
Blockchain.
any or improving this?
You asked about blockchain, am I right?
It's just an extension question to that.
Yeah. So his question is on blockchain.
Okay. See, blockchain is very interesting. It was overhyped by everybody concerned, and a lot of people made a lot of money, and a lot of people have lost a lot of money. I think still the core basis of blockchain remains valid. But as an individual, you ask me, I will want governments and nation states and an international setup to recognize blockchain. Until that happens, I will stay away. Though the technology has its merit, I'm not going to do speculative investment in blockchain or anything, even if it is $70,000, I don't care.
Amazing.
My question was, is there any R&D going on this to improve further? Because still scams are taking place.
Yeah,
No, it is
absolutely.
going.
People are trying. A lot of things are tried out, but blockchain may not. See, for a lot of problems, blockchain is not the answer. What happened in 2019 and 2020, any question you asked, blockchain was the answer. The technology has its merits, but just because you do blockchain, you can't stop all the problems. It doesn't work that way. But it's an area, definitely you're right. We have to investigate, which is definitely happening.
But there are security keys also, still hackers pour in. And
It is.
that security key also failed.
Yes. There are problems. Like I said, we have to evolve them, and this is one solution. It's worth exploring.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you very much.
And your reflections, ji, Mahesh Kumar Gupta ji. You have joined from Jammu and Kashmir, and I'm sure the climate there is very nice now. So your reflections about today's session, please.
It was very good, enlightening, awakening, and I am always for artificial intelligence. This was the reason I was awfully waiting, and I immediately joined at 6 o'clock, and I was totally attentive to Mr. Venkat's, and that is why I put my question regarding blockchain, R&D, and other measures. Thanks very much once more.
Thank you. Mr. Venkat, Mr. Mahesh Kumar Gupta is one of the director of CVA India, very seasoned professional and very senior person. So in that particular locality, and one of the most respected valuer in Jammu. Thank you very much, Ji, for joining today.
Thanks,
And
Dr. Raju, for compliments. Wish you all best.
thank you. And friends, at this, we have come to the last minute of today's session. I must definitely extend my sincere thanks and appreciation to Mr. Venkatarangan Thirumalai for being with us today and sharing a lot of his experience, his insights about artificial intelligence and the related various technologies. His experience is far and wide, and his in-depth knowledge, I am sure you would have experienced in the past 60 minutes. We are all very fortunate to have him for today's evening. And Mr. Venkat, thank you very much for joining today, and see you in future programs also on...
Just a second. You can follow me at any of the social media at Venkatarangan Thirumalai, just venkatarangan.com. My name, venkatarangan.com. I have a blog where I've been writing for 20 years. You might want to follow me. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and Jai Hind.